upcoming tools of violence ordinance where anything you are holding in your hands can be used against you by the police as an excuse to arrest you, including your water bottle, your cane, your flag, your camera monopod. Any and everything is an excuse. Not that they need an excuse, but they do like to have an excuse. So, we are going to march. This is not a fascist nation! Fire your bullshit legislation!
We do apologize for the inconvenience. First of all, you will see that there's a police cruiser behind us because they don't take kindly when we fight for everybody's rights. When we think that there should be social and economic equality, we get tear gassed, we get shot when we have children in the crowd like you see today. When there are old people, if they're disabled or not, it doesn't matter. A wheelchair just means that it's easier to get to you. It's very unfortunate, but it seems like that reality is only very prevalent in the flatlands of Oakland. Kernighan has moved up this hill and hidden herself here so that she can't be reached and you guys can't find out that my iPad is now shielded. I can go to jail for 6 months for having my iPad. Walking sticks, canes, walkers, tripods,
flags.
It doesn't matter. The way that the legislation is worded is so abusive. The rhetoric is so broad that virtually anything that we are carrying to express dissent can land us in jail. That is ridiculous.
What about bottles of gas?
Whoa there.
Well, if we can't have a bottle of water.
Preach it, sister.
So protesters in Oakland have gotten a bad rap. I wasn't a protester when I first came out. It's something that people should know. I came out interested and wanted to go to the general strike because it's a historic thing in Oakland, and as an Oaklander, I should be there. Period. That's why I came. I happened to be there with 2 professors from my college. I did it like a field trip. I had chaperones. You understand? But people still got tear gassed. People still got shot with beanbag rounds. I did this as an educational venture. I learned a lot. I normally wouldn't march up here and make a spectacle in this neighborhood. But we don't have billboards. We can't hire the police department to shun everything that we don't like out of our part of the community. So this is what we're left to do. Now, Kernighan wants to make everything defensive be an attack. So what's next? What is really left for us? I don't want to shoot anybody. But if I can't shield myself from bullets, what is my other alternative? Your council member who lives here in her little utopia, surrounded by her perfect trees and the small little lanes that virtually nobody can drive up, we see. She's trying to keep out the people who can't afford for her to do anything for them. She says that she's working for the people, but I seem to see a whole lot of people who are not content with the work she's doing. For every one of us, there are many more who couldn't make it today. That's something that people should be worried about. See you next time. Because we're tired of being trampled on. I, for one, am fucking tired. Sorry. This is what happens when you have Kernighan as a professional hitman with the Oakland Police Department as her personal squad. I can't stay in the flatlands because it's not safe. So maybe if we protest up here, to not realize that the schools are closing, but there's always money for police? Who don't understand that we're supposed to have paved roads, but how many potholes do you have to avoid to get to the gas station that charges you an arm and a leg? People are not doing their job. The time to hold them accountable is now. If not, you have a pissed off mass on your hand.
This is not a fashion station. Withdraw your bullshit legislation.
My name's Elle. I am a District 2 resident. Pat Kernighan is my council member. And I'm here today to talk to you about her proposed ordinance prohibiting the possession of tools of violence during a demonstration, which claims to address violence, property damage, and arson that have endangered peaceful demonstrations in Oakland by banning shields. The vast majority of protesters demonstrating in Oakland have not been endangered by fellow protesters, but rather by the tools of violence, including less lethal weapons that have been used by OPD against predominantly peaceful groups, in blatant violation of their own crowd control policy. Now, I know what's hurting protesters because I'm a street medic. I'm the one patching protesters up. I'm the one fixing them after OPD harms them. To claim that shields specifically endanger protesters is outrageous, especially considering the cases of Scott Olson and Kaivan Sabegi, both U.S. military veterans who were nearly killed by the Oakland Police Department at peaceful demonstrations. You know what Scott Olson and Kaivan Sabegi both have in common? There were no shields at those demonstrations. Since those events, shields and other protective equipment have become commonplace, both carried and worn by protesters at all of the events. Not only have the shields been protecting demonstrators at these protests, they've also been protecting the taxpayers of this city from lawsuits levied by people who have been hurt by OPD. Our taxes shouldn't be paying lawsuits for people who are the victims of excessive and nearly lethal force. That's not what they're for, especially not in this community, especially not right now when we have schools that are closing. The ordinance introduced by Councilmember Kernighan and City Attorney Barbara Parker claims to be constitutional. They cite many sources which debatably demonstrate that it does not violate the First Amendment rights of protesters, while completely overlooking the fact that the proposed ordinance by nature violates the Fourth Amendment rights of the people to be secure in their persons and their effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. I am deeply concerned by how much of this ordinance is left open to interpretation by the law enforcement officers charged with upholding it. Under the current proposal, any person carrying a water bottle may be subject to search and seizure by a law enforcement officer due to the unidentified liquid in their possession. Any person carrying a purse, a diaper bag, wearing a backpack or baggy clothing may also be subject to search and seizure on the basis that they may be carrying concealed tools of violence. Not only is this ordinance unconstitutional despite Kernighan and Parker's claims to the contrary, but it's also impractical. In a city with crime rates as high as Oakland's, imposing another law and expecting the currently understaffed police department to effectively enforce it is unreasonable. Rather than diverting more resources to the suppression of free speech and repression of activists, the Oakland city government and its police force ought to be focusing on stopping the truly violent crimes that are afflicting this community. The fact that Pat Kernighan, Barbara Parker, the Oakland City Council, and the Oakland Police Department are obsessing over protesters with shields when 8 Oakland residents were shot yesterday alone is disgusting. Right. Not only is it disgusting, but it demonstrates a complete and total lack of ability to prioritize both the problems in our community and the way that city resources are applied.
Yes. Yes.
Finally, I'd like to highlight the fact that a shield is not a weapon. A shield is not used to cause violence, but rather to protect yourself and those around you from falling victim to violence. A shield is a sign, whether or not it has words painted on it. It is a statement to all who would violently oppose free speech that the people carrying the shields will not allow themselves or anyone else to be beaten into silence.
This is guys for
with